Welcome to another edition of the Best Business Minds, where we interview business leaders and academics that write thought-provoking books. I'm Marc Kramer, a serial entrepreneur who consults with family businesses and entrepreneurs, and currently I'm teaching entrepreneurship at Vinh University in Hanoi, Vietnam. Today's guest is Dr. Yaniv Zaid, author of the book, The 21st Century Sales Bible, Mastering the 10 Commandments of Marketing, Negotiation, and Persuasion. Zaid, Yaniv, welcome. Such a pleasure to have you, and you're speaking to us from Israel.
Yes, I'm in Tel Aviv, Israel now. It's a great privilege to be here, Mark. I listened to some of your chapters from your podcast and I enjoyed very much. So I'm very happy to be here and see all those beautiful people.
I appreciate that, and we're thrilled to have you. And the folks watching type in their questions on chat, and I will be asking them to you. So we're thrilled to have these folks come on board with. So let's start off with you telling us about your professional career. How did you get to where you're at right now?
Great. So first of all, personally, I'm 48 years old. I live in Tel Aviv, Israel. I married for the second time. I have two kids from chapter one, from the first marriage. They are now 16 and 14 years old. And I'm going to have a baby in 2 months from now. And professionally, I'm a lawyer and economist, and I have a PhD in law. And I have a company, it's called the Art of Persuasion, for the last 22 years. We provide business consulting and lectures and workshops all over the world. Me personally, I provided lectures in more than 70 countries so far, more than 2,500 lectures and workshops and speakings all over the world. I wrote 11 books. I'm the author of 11 best-selling books, 6 in Hebrew and 5 in English. They're translated to 12 languages, and I sold more than 500,000 copies worldwide. We mentioned Vietnam, that we are in Hanoi now, so 3 of my books were published in Vietnam so far. Public speaking, creative marketing, and my latest new release, it's the 21st Century Sales Bible. And I sold just in Vietnam in the last decade more than 120,000 copies. And also my books were published in the United States, China, India, Hong Kong, France, Germany, and many more countries. I love what I do. I consult to companies, to private organizations, to public firms, to small and medium businesses, to startups. And also I teach lecturers and speakers and authors how to package their knowledge and sell it through books and through lectures. We're going maybe to speak more about it. So I'm happy to be here and share my knowledge.
Well, I would like to learn some of the parts about, since I've written 6 books, how to really monetize those things. I mean, I've monetized them in terms of consulting, and it's really helped me get my job here in Vietnam, where I'm a senior lecturer of entrepreneurship. So it's certainly been helpful with that. But I think there's a lot more that I could leverage from that. So I hope to learn more from you about those things. So let's start off with, why did you even write this book?
Okay, so my mission in life is to help people to increase their income, to increase their sales, to improve their marketing abilities, to be more professional authority, to increase their brand. Because I study law and economy, and when I study in university, people taught me that if I do everything, I will excel in everything in life. In school and in the army, in college, everything. Then I go out to the world, and all will be great. But then I realized that there are some let's say communication skills that you need to know, or some things you need to know in life. For example, there was a research that showed what is the most important for us. So the 4 most important things for us are not necessarily in this order: health, wealth, happiness, and our health, wealth, happiness, and another thing I will say in a second. And when and love, health, wealth, happiness, and love. And when you see what the formal education system teaches you, you see that actually they don't teach us anything about those things. They don't teach us how to use money, how to start a business, how to market yourself, how to be a parent, to be a better parent, how to find the right spouse for you, how to save your marriage or something like that. And then you go out to the world and you are 20-something, 30-something, and then there is a really big gap between what the formal education system taught you and what you actually need to know. And then comes the experts industry that you and I are part of it, that teaches us in a not formal way, not formal education system, how to do it. So I decided that my mission in life is to teach people how to market themselves, how to sell themselves, how to speak in front of public. When I was in the university, in Haifa University in Israel, I joined the debate society, and I was chairman of my debate society, and I participated in many worldwide championships, European championships, world championships, and I won many titles. I was number 3 in the world in 2003 in the debate world championships in South Africa. I reached semi-final in a European championship in 2002. And I realized that this method is very, very famous in universities, but actually people outside of university, they don't even know debate, and they don't use this system. So I decided I will teach this system, and I will adapt it to our day-to-day life. So I wrote my first book. It's called Public Speaking. It was published in 2004. It became immediately a bestseller in Israel, and then on Amazon, and then in many countries. And then I took it from there, and I decided that my mission in life is to become the expert of communication skills and marketing skills and sales skills, because this is something people don't teach you in the formal education system. And then when I got my PhD, I became Dr. Persuasion. This is my brand, because I wrote my PhD on PhD in law, how to persuade judges in courthouses, because I study law, and they taught me everything in law: criminal law, public law, everything except 3 things. 1 is how to write legal documents. 2 is how to talk in courthouses, and 3 is how to market myself as a lawyer. And then you go outside to the world. What you need to do 3 things. You need to write, you need to market, you need to, you need to talk in front of judges. So for me, my mission is to provide daily skills that everyone needs, businesses and personal people.
What kind of law did you practice, and do you still practice law?
No, today I don't practice law. I use my legal knowledge for my businesses, and I practice in civil law and corporate law.
Let's start off from the beginning of the book. You emphasize charging for initial meetings to demonstrate value and attract serious clients. However, in a highly competitive markets where free consultations are norm, a lot of law firms, accounting firms, how can business effectively communicate the value of their expertise up front to justify the initial fee and avoid deterring potential customers?
So my basic assumption is that everyone here is an expert, and if you'd like people to pay you, and to pay you a lot of money for your products and services, you need to be perceived as an expert. Now, my definition of an expert is very wide, because people usually depend on experts. If you go to a restaurant and for example, I will come to Hanoi for a restaurant. I personally know Hanoi, but let's say you come to somewhere you don't know. You come to a restaurant, and you look at the menu, and the waitress comes, and then you ask her immediately, what do you prefer, what do you recommend, right? So why do I ask why do you recommend? Because I don't know her. I'm going to tell her, please decide for me what I'm going to put into my body. I know she represents the restaurant, not me, so probably she's going to offer me the dishes that the restaurants ask her to offer me. But yet I ask her, what do you recommend? Because she is now the expert, because I don't know the restaurant, she knows the restaurant. So it doesn't matter that she's younger than me, older than me, smarter than me, with higher education or not. I immediately ask her. So people rely on experts in every stage in life. So when you are an expert, people will pay you more, people will argue with you less, and people will talk more about you. We're going to talk about viral marketing, how people are going to talk about you. So you need to perceive as an expert. Now, how can you do it? Let's go back to the 4 stages what makes people buy from us. So there are 4 stages in order for people to buy from us. First stage is know. They need to know us. Second stage is like. They need to like us. Stage number 3 is trust. They need to trust us professionally, and only then comes stage number 4, which is they will buy from us or invest in us if we're startups, or vote for us if you're politicians. So know, like, trust model. So they need to get to know you, meaning that you need to be in as many platforms as possible. I'm going to elaborate it further, and they need to know that you exist in the market, because if you are not there, if they look for a service provider, or they look for a product, and they look and Google or ask friends or look at the social media, and you are not there, then you are not relevant. It doesn't matter if you are good or bad, if you are too pricey or too cheap. It doesn't matter. You're not in the game. So first you need to be in the game. and you need to be relevant in as many platforms as possible where your clients at. And then stage number 2, they need to like you. Now, how can they like you? They don't even know you, and they didn't buy from you yet. But they can like you if they see videos of you, and they can like you if they read an article, and they can like you if they heard you in a podcast, and they can like you if they read a newsletter from you or a post from you. So or they can like you if you got recommendation from some other people they know that they told them Yaniv is a great guy, you should definitely go to him. So they can like you even though they didn't meet you personally in many ways. And then stage number 3 is trust. They need to trust you. They say, okay, so I know Yaniv exists, okay, and I like him, he sounds like a great guy, but how can I know he's an expert? Because everyone's saying they're experts. I never met anyone that, met a client, supplier or vendor that met a client and told him, I am not so good, I'm a mediocre, but please choose me to take the job. It doesn't happen. Or in a job interview, okay, no one comes to the job interview and says, I'm not so good, I'm mediocre, but please hire me for work. Everyone claims that they are professionals and they know what they do, etc. So what is the difference between a guy that knows what he's doing and someone is not? The difference is the social proof. Social proof, and we're going to elaborate about it, is a great key, marketing key, and it allows people to trust you professionally even though they didn't meet you yet. So social proof, meaning that you provide, let's say, objective evidence that I'm actually an expert, formal achievements, formal certificates, a track record, famous clients, amount of clients, etc. I'm going to elaborate further. So, and only then when people know you, and then they like you, and then they trust you, then they perceive you as an expert, and then they're going to buy from you, and then they're going to willing to pay you more because you're an expert, and everyone will happy to pay you more. I don't care about your market, the conditions, the country. Those principles are universal. So people pay more for clients and they pay more for brands. So become a brand, become an expert, and people will pay you more and argue for less and choose you rather than the alternative.
In the same chapter, in chapter 1, discusses the importance of understanding the customer's perspective and selling the problem before the solution. Can you provide specific examples or framework for how businesses can effectively uncover the emotional or irrational needs driving a customer purchasing decisions, particularly in markets outside of health, weddings, and children?
Yeah, first of all, I mentioned in the book that there are three areas, weddings, health, and children, that people are willing to pay much more because of the need. Because the bigger the problem, the more I'm willing to pay for it, or the bigger the need, I'm going to pay for it. And I gave an example of I will soon give an example of outside of those industries, but just a quick example to understand. If you take a regular bouquet of flowers and I will try to sell it to you, I can sell it to you, let's say, in $100. But if I call it a bridal bouquet, flowers for the wedding, then I can charge between $300 to $500. Each product or service for the wedding costs an average 3 to 5 times more. Now, why? What is the difference? Those are the same flowers. The difference is the need, because when you buy flowers for the wedding, you're not actually buying flowers. You buy, the winning image, or the winning feeling of $1 million feeling, and the queen for a day feeling. And the fact that you're going to 10 years from now, you buy the photos actually, but 10 years from now, you have the winning image of the bride and groom sitting with the kids 10 years from now, and they say, oh, look how beautiful mommy was when they look at the photos album. And 30 years from now, they sit with their grandkids and look at the photo album and say, oh, look how beautiful grandmother was. This is what I buy when I buy flowers for the wedding. So you need to identify the needs and problems of your clients before you start selling them. We're going to talk about marketing, writing, etc. So before I start market and plan the campaign, and write down, the messages, I need to understand the needs. Now let me tell you, we are both speakers, So let's take a service outside of those industries. Let's say I'm going to sell you a lecture or a speaking gig, right? So
Yep.
When I started selling lectures and speaking gigs, I thought that people are looking for my content, right? So their decision making is based on my content. But then I asked my clients, I had a mailing list of 5,000 clients, I think 15 years ago. Today it's more than 20,000 clients worldwide. And I ask my clients, why do you buy lectures, or why do you participate in workshops? I can ask you the same here. Now we have a few dozen people. Why do you come to listen to us? So I thought about that the first reason will be content, right? There is a lecture about marketing. I want to know how to market, so I come to hear you. But apparently, knowledge was just number 4 in the list. Number 1 was fun. People come to have fun. People would like to enjoy themselves. Number 2 was networking. People come to places to network with one another. You can network with Zoom today as well, but talking about face-to-face meetings. Number 3 was to break routine. You know, our routine, you know, our schedule, most of our days looks the same. We go out, get out of the house, go in a traffic jam, go to work 9 to 5, then go back, the same traffic jam, the same family, and then suddenly we have 2 weeks from now, we have a conference we go to, we have a workshop we go to. So people love this breaking routine. So, and then only then comes knowledge. So this did it change the way I market my lectures? Of course, because then I decided that I need to focus on having fun, telling more jokes, providing more examples, more stories, okay? And also it influenced the way I market my lectures and speaking gigs, because then I say, would you like to have fun? Would you like to meet friends? Would you like to have to do networking with quality people? Would you like to break your routine? You should definitely come to Dr. Yaniv Zaid workshops or something like that. So when I understood the needs and problems of clients, and I also did research about it, then it helped me improve my actual product or service, which is in this case the workshop and lecture, and also made me improve the campaign, the marketing campaign, and then I improved my conversion rate.
So let's go to about pricing confidence. And I think a lot of people struggle with this. I think I even do as well, struggle with this. You emphasize the importance of feeling confident with higher prices before presenting them to clients. What specific techniques or mindset shifts do you recommend for overcoming internal resistance to pricing, particularly for service-based businesses where value can be subjective?
So first of all, in marketing and sales, you have being and you have doing. Doing is exactly what you need to say, who are you referring to, your direct messages. And being is your state of mind. You need to have a clear, a good mentality, a positive thinking, strong mentality, and you need to know that you are worth. So when we talk about pricing, there is a combination of being and doing, because if I charge higher pricing, I need to believe that I'm worthy of these prices. So first of all, we talked about expertise. If I'm an expert in something and I have a unique perspective in something, then I can charge more. And if the problems we talked about, sell the problem before the solution. So if the client have bigger problems, they are willing to pay more because it hurts for them, and because they lose money, they lose energy, they lose time, they lose health each day that they don't take me. But if I try to sell you something, I will focus in high pricing. First of all, I will focus on the fact that I'm an expert and I know what I'm doing, and I can say you are going to pay me a lot of money, but I'm going to save you a lot of money and a lot of energy and a lot of time. And I will focus on a positive ROI, return of investment. I will tell you, yes, you're going to pay me X, but in the long term, in the short term, and I will show you how in each case, you are going to benefit a lot more than what you're going to pay me. So if you're talking about emotions, then I need to show you how you're hurting right now, and I'm the solution to your problem, or the answer to your need, or let's say the cure for your pain. But if you're talking about also rational decision makings, then I'm going to show you how you're going to pay me X dollars, for example, and then I will deliver through my knowledge, through the process we're going to do together. You will have a positive ROI, and you will multiply this X with the income we'll have later.
You are in a very competitive environment in Israel. I mean, for you to be able to go and use that strategy, and if it works there, it could probably work anywhere in the world, right? Because of the high quality of the professionals. Because when I'm hearing you, I kind of wonder, we have senior partners at law firms that they don't charge you for meeting, right? And senior partners of consulting firms, because there's so many quality, talented experts in there. How do you actually make that happen when the competition is so great? Hence why they don't charge you for that hour, because there's so many options.
Great question. First of all, I also consult to law firms all over the world, and there is problem of service providers that they tend to meet the first meeting in free meeting, to provide it in free, no charge. And I say no. I say in every market and every department, no, don't do it, because if I'm an expert and I provide you knowledge and value from the first minute we are meeting each other from the first time, then I need to charge you as well, because my knowledge equals money. And you need to understand it, because if I sell you service, okay, there is something, it's a slippery slope with service, because if I sell you products, you won't imagine to come to my grocery store, for example, take some chocolate and won't pay it, because even if we're friends or something, we'll say, we're friends, so please give me a chocolate or milk or something, because you understand that it costs money and it costs me money to put it there, and I have costs, right? But if you're talking about service, then you will feel free, for example, to come to a dinner party to meet me, and then pick up my brain and go and ask me questions for an hour, and just because we're just talking, right? No, because my product is my knowledge, and I sell my knowledge, and I need to protect my knowledge. So in this case, if you're talking about consulting, and a lawyer, what does a lawyer sell? He sells you his time or her time and his knowledge. So we need to protect the time, we need to protect the knowledge. So I always say to people and to service providers and to companies, you need to charge for your time and charge for your knowledge from the first minute. And sometimes, even if your competitors, they don't charge and you charge, you're more interesting, because people will admire you, because why don't I charge? Because I'm afraid that if I say it costs money, then people won't come, right? Or they won't come to consult. But I don't want people to come for free if they're not willing to pay me later, or if they don't appreciate my knowledge, or if they go to me for free and then they will take my advices and they go to someone else, some other lawyer, for example, and then will say, okay, do whatever Yaniv said. No, I would like to have a borderline with my clients and to have a criteria, and they say, okay, you would like to consult me, I will make everything well, I will learn about you, I will be professional, I will give you my best advices, but you need to pay for it. And sometimes if a client asks, let's say 5 lawyers, and I was the only one who asked for money for the first meeting, or even charge the most, okay, I'm the more interesting one. Then they're going to find out about me, then they're going to read about me, and then they're more willing to come to me. So the solution is not freebies, it's not to give free meetings, it's not to charge low prices. On the contrary, I'm telling you, if you'd like to be a brand and charge high price, you need to justify those prices, but to charge high prices.
They kind of bake it in, like, when they give you the free hour or whatever, when you sign on as a client, that they're going to make that hour back. I mean, they can't afford to give away, during the course of the year, a couple hundred hours. So whatever clients, when they get those clients, I think they kind of bake it back into it. Expertise in the gig economy, given the challenges of specialization within the gig economy, what strategies can gigsters employ to cultivate a unique value proposition or brand that transcends mere task completion, allowing them to command higher prices and foster a lasting client relationship?
Great question. First of all, just let me address your remark, because I can say, if I'm a lawyer, I can say to a client, the meeting is, let's say, $500. If you will take the project and will pay me $50,000, then the meeting is for free, or we can reduce it from the cost or something like that. Then
Yeah.
there is a border one, that if a client just want to pick up my brain for free and go to other people, they won't pay me 500. They won't come. They won't agree to meet me. So this is a border I set. Now about the gig economy, a lot of people they provide the same service. So what is the differences? What is the relative advantage? The service. Here, the service is very, very important. To be a first one to come, to smile at clients, to provide personal attention, to be someone different that I can remember. I had a Uber driver who told me once that when he calls to clients, then they tell them that he's outside. When you call to someone, usually you hear a ring, a ringtone, you hear a song that this person loves, right? So he told me that I call someone and then I hear some song, and then the person says hello, and I say, I'm a driver, I'm outside. So they say, okay, I'm going out. And they go out, and then he puts the same song in his YouTube, in his audio system in the car. And then the client comes in and they say, oh, it's a beautiful song. I love this song. So you say, I know. I just heard that you love this song, so I put it especially for you. So this is some tip. This is something that people will always remember. You know, that the cab driver, the Uber driver who addressed me with the song I like the most. You know, so when we talk about personal attention, when we talk about service, there are the small details who create big results. You know, because everyone can take me around. If you're talking about Uber, for example, or apartments, you know, Airbnb or other gig economy things. But the special things, the small things, you need to pay attention to them, because everyone would like to feel great about themselves. Everyone would like to feel that they are noticed, that people treat them like kings. I think the first tip in sales and marketing is love your clients. If you love your clients, they will love you back. People that don't love people, you know, they are not a good service provider. They will be it will be very difficult for them to sell for long term and to market well. So you need to love your clients. I say also to speakers, you need to love your audience. If you know you love your audience, they will love you back. But people remember other people who provided them with personal attention. So in gig economy, definitely recommend high quality service.
Yeah, I think so. I think so as well. I think your advice is that some of us are afraid to take that advice. But when I worked at the Wharton School, my boss always said, "You can come lower, but you can never really go higher." Commandment 2 emphasizes branding oneself as an expert, even in competitive markets. How the luxury paradox, and you'll have to explain what that is that you talk about in the book, suggests setting terms for clients. How can one effectively balance being perceived both as an accessible expert and maintaining firm boundaries to avoid appearing aloof or unapproachable, especially when entering a market?
Okay, so luxury paradox is something that every expert uses and every brand uses, and I'm going to explain it and then to show you how it makes you an expert. Okay, actually, because the luxury paradox is when we treat clients, no matter what is your industry, there are two parallel routes, let's say, that they can never meet, but they are both exist. The first one, they need to exist. The first one is the client is always right. Okay, you need to provide great terms for the client. The client is always right. The second route is, but only in your terms. Now, this is the paradox, right? Because if the client is always right, then the client needs to get, you know, their prices, their prices. You know, I need to come to them. I need to do whatever they want me to do, right? Because they need to be happy, right? But if we talk about the balance between those two parallel routes, this is a luxury paradox. And if you solve this paradox in your business, then you are an expert. Then you are a brand. And I can give you an example. Let's say we're talking about consulting, business consulting. So you ask me, you call me and say, hi, Yaniv, Dr. Yaniv Zaid, I heard about you. I heard your podcast. I would like to consult with you about how to increase my sales, for example. And I say, okay, no problem. So we can have, for example, a consulting meeting. It will be on Zoom. It will be, let's say, 1 hour, $1,000. And we're going to discuss the hours that fit for both of us. Or if you come to my office, I have an office in Tel Aviv, you come to me. Okay, so I have certain conditions. I don't come to you, you come to me. It costs, let's say, $1,000 an hour. It doesn't cost 500. You can say, oh, I would like a discount. I would like, I have only $500. Please, I will pay you this. I will ask you for materials before the meeting because I need to prepare myself. So you can say, I would like to help me, but I'm not showing you anything for my company or something like that. So there are certain criteria. Now, like I mentioned, first route is the client is the king, and second route is only on my conditions. So if you agree to my conditions, you will pay me the money I ask. You will come to whatever I ask. You will come when I ask, in the time that we schedule. You will send me the documents I need. Okay, all of those terms are completed. Then you in my club of my client's club, and then you will get the best service, you know, the best knowledge, the best tips, the best personal attention, everything. You will be the king. But in order to be the king, you need to follow my rules. So each expert, each brand, each company that is a brand, okay? If people are going to buy from this company, they need to obey some rules. And this is the balance we always try to keep between to satisfy the client, but also to satisfy ourselves.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of us fall short. And Commandment 3 highlights the importance of clear, precise instructions to motivate action using the analogy of road signs. In situations where clients resist prescriptive advice or prefer more autonomy in their decision making, what alternative strategies can be employed to guide them towards desired outcomes without alienating? And I find that's the case. A lot of times clients get very hard-headed even when you're presenting them with logic. How do you deal with that?
Great. So first of all, I talk about call to action a lot in my books and my lectures and speaking gigs because this is something that's very difficult for most people to end the conversation or to end the meeting with call to action and to tell people actually what to do. And I always tell that and I write that people obey signs. You know, if you provide with clear instructions what to do next, people will obey. So first of all, by the way, this is in our subconscious level. I'm now taking it to the conscious level, but if I will have a meeting and then at the end of the meeting I'll tell you, okay, so Mark, what we need to do, I will send you the email, please see it, fill the forms, send it back to me, and then we can schedule the next meeting. So there are clear instructions, you need to know exactly what to do. So there is more likely that you will obey. I will say obey with sign, obey those signs. Now, if people, some people, well, obviously when I say the word obey, some people they don't think about it, but I don't talk about the word obey. I just ask you or tell you what needs to be done. Now, I can also give you a choice, but I can give you a choice out of two options that are relevant for me. For example, we mentioned the restaurant. Let's say you come to the waitress and you ask her, what do you recommend to eat? What do you recommend that I should eat? And the chef told her in the morning, if someone asks what to eat, offer them the steak. Why the steak? Because we have lots of steaks and I need to get it over before it's ran out, before it expires. Okay, so when you ask me what to eat and I'm the waitress, I will tell you, what do you prefer, fish or steak? Okay. By the way, if I would like to choose steak, I will say steak number 2, the second one. So a fish or a steak. Okay. So I offered you a choice. And then you'll more probably find the steak. By the way, I can also add the social proof. I can say, you know what, the steaks here are great. You know, people love the steaks. Okay, so obviously, if I offer people steaks all day, then most of them will take steak, and then it will be the most loved dish in the restaurant. You know, but I will say to you, steaks are great. What do you prefer, fish or steak? And then because I gave you a choice, and you choose probably steak, 70-80% of the people will choose steak. Then who decided about the steak? Okay. Allegedly you, but actually the waitress gave you, let's say, a persuasion process or sales process that eventually you chose what you wanted to choose. So if you'd like people to do whatever you want them to do, first of all, provide them with clear instructions. And second of all, you can offer them few alternatives, but you can focus on the alternative that is most relevant for you.
In commandment number 4, you advocate being a wild horse rather than a noble steed, emphasizing initiative and positive chutzpah. However, you might argue that the approach could be perceived as aggressive or pushy. How do you balance the need for proactive engagement with the importance of building trust and avoiding alienating potential customers, especially in different cultural contexts? And that can't be easy for Israelis because you're known to be very aggressive.
Yeah, first of all, it's a balance. In Israel, we're very good in sales and marketing, and we are a startup nation, so we have more startup companies per population than every other country, and we also succeed in many other countries because we try. Maybe sometimes we can consider, let's say, aggressive in few cultures, but it works. You know, if we talk about the results, you see the results, it works. And why? Huh?
I mean, you have 150 unicorn companies at any given time. You're 10% the size of Vietnam, and we have 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm actually pushing that here in Vietnam by starting a national high school business plan competition. But there's a lot to be learned from that.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
go
no,
ahead.
this is why people invite me for all over the world to know how we do business. But we talked about the chutzpah, the positive chutzpah, or the fact that you need to offer to something or to call to action. So in sales and marketing, I think it's very important, and there always need to be a balance. You need to be yourself. You need to do something that for you it's too pushy or it's too aggressive. You need to find also always the balance between offering the client something and not be aggressive. But if I will take two borderlines, one is I don't offer anything to the clients because I'm not feeling comfortable, I feel embarrassed, and the other option is to be more aggressive, but to offer again and again and again. I will always choose this option, but I don't need to choose because there is the middle path. The middle path is just offer the client something, okay, in your way. But I always say that if you take two salesperson, one is excellent salesperson, but he never offers because he always, feels sorry for the clients. You say, no, now it's summertime, they probably won't answer. Now it's holidays, they probably won't take my offer. So I wait after the holidays, after the summer, maybe next year, maybe they don't have budget, you start to negotiate with yourself. And you don't offer, and you're an excellent salesperson, but you don't offer. And the other person is a mediocre salesperson, but you always offer. I'll ask you, would you like to buy my book? Or I saw that you are now emerging with another company. I do business consulting. Is it relevant for you? Or something like that. Again, we can talk about how to do it and what to say. But I offer you something, then I will have more conversion rate. So you need to find your balance between offering people and offering your way, not to be aggressive, but always offer, always call to action at the end of each, post, newsletter, meeting, lecture, because people would like to buy from you. And if you perceive as an expert, and you just saw someone and you think highly of him, and then he doesn't offer you anything, then he misses and you miss also, because you would like to be in connection. So always feel free to, if you think that you're good at what you do and you have great products and services, don't embarrass. Just call to action at the end of each interaction with your clients.
You mentioned, of course, Israel is so small that every company has to go global to have an opportunity. I'm not talking about the dry cleaner, but anybody who's offering any kind of product or service, there's just not enough customers in Israel to build a substantial business. How do you coach salespeople when they go into different cultures? Like I'm in Asia, the culture is totally different in terms of how you present and sell in Asia, and even in the United States, how you sell in New York is totally different than how you sell in Austin, Texas. So, what's the advice you give to people in terms of still being aggressive, but understanding what's acceptable in those cultures?
Okay, so first of all, one second. So first of all, I call now. 1 second. Second. Okay. First of all, I will maybe surprise you by saying that because I also lecture all over the world, including United States, China, Russia, India. So I see different mentalities and different people. So yes, there are different mentalities, but the principles are the same. Okay, you need to do a little small adjustments, 10, 20, 30% adjustments, but the principles are the same. And how can I know it? First of all, because my book is a bestseller book in many countries, and I think that my biggest accomplishment is that I managed to sell the same book to publishing houses from India and China and Russia and United States. There are 4 superpowers with different mentalities, and they bought the same book. And if I deliver workshops, so I did a workshop 1 month in Hanoi, in Vietnam, in New Jersey, and in Tel Aviv in Israel, for example, and in France. And I was asked the same questions. It was a marketing workshop for business owners. I was asked the same questions. People had the same problems. It took me by surprise, by the way, because I thought that there are going to be much differences in the content. But people are people, and our subconscious is the same subconscious. So if you have some principles, you need to be authentic, and you need to use those principles. By the way, if I come to the United States, for example, to provide workshop, then I'm an Israeli, I'm Jewish, I'm Yaniv Zaid from Tel Aviv. I'm not, Marc Kramer, and I'm not John Spencer from Delaware, okay? So why did they take me? But why don't they take John Spencer from Delaware? Because I bring a unique perspective, I bring myself. So I can be 100% Dr. Yaniv Zaid. I can become the best version of myself. I can't be someone else. So if you have principles you believe in, if you have some ideas, if you have some mentalities, people will take you as a service provider or products provider because of your mentality, because of your experience, because of your unique perspective. So you need to maintain it. So yes, you need to do a slight adaptation, maybe not telling these jokes, or talk slow or fast or something like that, but you need to be yourself. You become the best version of yourself, and this is why people buy. So this is something I think maybe it took you by surprise, but I strongly believe in it.
Yes. So, given the emphasis on market education, what are some of the scalable methods to small businesses with limited resources to effectively deliver high quality educational content to their target audience consistently?
So we recorded this in 2025, and each small and medium business we have so many tools now, not just the AI obviously, but also the social media platforms, and YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and Twitter and Telegram and whatever, and Weibo and WeChat in China. So we can create content, and we can become journalists. We can become media players because we have blogs. So each business, whether you are business providers or product providers, then you can become an expert by sharing content. Now you can share content from your knowledge, because actually if someone will ask you something, you will explain about the product, about the service, or you consult to the client. So if I consult one-on-one, then the only one hearing my amazing insights is the person in front of me, right? But if I take those insights and I write, let's say, a story, I share those insights from this meeting in my newsletter, then I have 20, 30, 40,000 other people knowing about it, okay? So, and if I upload a video in my YouTube channel or in my Facebook or LinkedIn channel, then thousands of people more hearing about it. So we have so many platforms. I'm not talking of obviously Spotify and podcast and other platforms. So I urge you to to share your knowledge, and don't afraid to provide good knowledge, because sometimes people say, okay, I will provide mediocre knowledge, and when they come and pay me, then I will give them my best. No, give your best for the first time. Give your best at each post, and each post on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, in each video, in each webinar, in each virtual conference, and provide your best knowledge ever. And then people will come to you, because they'll say to themselves, okay, I heard a video of 2 minutes of Yaniv. Wow, he gave me a really, really good tip. So if in 2 minutes I learned so much from him, wow, how much am I going to learn if I will take his one-on-one consulting, or if I come to hear his lecture, or if I buy a ticket to his conference, So we have many, and I'm also talking about free instructions, free guides, that you can free guides that you can upload to the internet, and then people will share them around with your details, of course, and they will contact you, because we talked about know, like, trust. They will get to know you through this guide. They will like you through this guide. They will trust you because you will mention things you've done before with other clients, and then they're going to approach you.
Do you use social media like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, having a Facebook page, LinkedIn? And what are the best times that if you do use them, what are the best days and times that you post that you think give you the best return?
Great question. Usually I prefer, if you're talking about that the weekend is Saturday and Sunday, I prefer not at Monday morning. I prefer Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, okay? Maybe Friday morning, something like that. It's different with each platform and with each country, but in general, I would say that I believe in 7 till 9 in the morning, okay? 7 till 9 a.m. and maybe let's say 5 till 7 p.m. Okay, because in the morning people are reading some social media before they go to work, or when they are on the road, and in the afternoon they're after the day's job. But you can check it. I always check it. I do A/B testing to each newsletter. I check the amount of the conversation rates, the amount of opening, of each newsletter and each link, and I'll sometimes use the hours. Sometimes I found out in some markets or some countries that in the noon it will be the best time. So I urge you to check it and to try few times. Sometimes you release a post or release a newsletter in the morning, sometimes at noon, sometimes at night, sometimes at weekend, sometimes in the regular week, and check what works the best for you. And also you can check with, for example, if my product is for parents with young children, okay? So then maybe 5 to 7 is not so good, because this is the time, 5 to 7 p.m. This is the time where they are with the kids, taking a shower, having dinner together, something like that. But or for example, for corporate, maybe I will call them between 10 to 12, because then they work, and then they can hear me the best. So it's very different, and I urge you to check the data in your area.
You mentioned that lectures and presentations are the highest converting platform, yet you also note that one of the most common mistakes lecturers make is overwhelming the audience with too much information. How do you suggest structuring a presentation to provide enough value and leave customers with a taste for more without causing information overload and potentially reducing their likelihood to purchase follow-up services? By the way, I think your advice, the advice in this area is incredible, very important to know because when I was younger, my chairman of my company used to say that I gave too much information when I was selling, and so there was no conversation that I literally left nothing to be asked. So
Yeah.
I'm curious about this.
So first of all, we're both lecturers, and also we both lecture in the academy. Also, I taught in Tel Aviv University, Haifa University, and I was a guest speaker in many universities all over the world. And you mentioned that if I come to Hanoi, I can be also a guest speaker in your university. So
Yep.
so there is remember we said earlier why people come to lectures or why people buy tickets for workshops. And we thought about knowledge, but actually knowledge was just number 4. So it's the same thing. So if you just try to provide knowledge, if you give me 1 hour and you say you need to talk about 1 hour about marketing, and I would just say principles about marketing, then I will be boring because people won't have fun and they won't have interaction with me. So for me, the steps in a good lecture, the good speaking gig is first of all start with a good let's say a good story, because people like stories. Tell a story about your expertise, about something you did with other client in the beginning, just at the beginning, and then sell the problem before the solution, meaning that if I'm going to talk about marketing, that I would start by saying, why do you need to know marketing? What happens to a business that doesn't know marketing? Just opens and that's it. And I will show you research and data and statistics and examples and stories, but I will first sell the problem before the solution. Then you can say, why do you need to do it? Because people came to a lecture about marketing, so they know that you need marketing. No, but I'm going to show them another aspects and perspectives that how important it is, and then I can buy their listening for the rest of the lecture. Then I'm going to talk about myself, only then, and then I'm going to talk about myself to build my professional authority. This is step number 3 about myself, social proofs. I maybe another stories, formal achievements, track record, etc. That people will say, okay, so I understood why I need to be here. I understood that marketing is very important. Now, who is this guy to teach me? Wow, it's a great guy. Okay, he knows what he's talking about. And then step number 4 is showing showcases about other clients. I always believe in it because people say, okay, so I understood Dr. Yaniv Zaid is great in marketing, but yes, but he's an expert. I'm not an expert. I'm just a small business owner. So maybe it's not relevant for me. And then I can show them examples about other small business, medium businesses, for example. Or if I talk to lawyers, I will show them stories about law firms, what I did with other law firms. And then they can say, okay, I can do it as well. And then step number 5 is knowledge. And I strongly believe in, let's say, wrap up your knowledge, in a very clear way. For example, I would say the 5 secrets to become a better salesperson, okay, or the 7 habits, or the 10 commandments, like I do in my book, or the six secret ingredients, or something like that. Because if you say numbers and if you provide people with clear examples and clear tips, they can write it down, they can remember it, they can implement it. And then step number 6 will be the call to action. The call to action, as I mentioned at the end of each lecture, say, okay, so you understood marketing is important. So you understood the 6 secret ingredients. You know that I'm going to talk, that I know what I'm going to talk about. You understand that it's very important for you as lawyers, for example. Now, if you strongly would like to implement it, this is what I offer you as a next stage. So 6 steps. First one, tell a story. Second one, sell the problem before the solution. Number 3 is tell about yourself and show your social proofs. Number 4, tell about showcases and stories about other clients. Number 5, show knowledge but wrap it out in a clear and in a great manner in numbers. And number 6 is call to action.
Commitment number 6, regarding the concept of marketing before product launch. What are some practical steps a startup can take to validate customer demand and gather initial sales before fully developing their product, especially in industries with high research and development costs? And I think this is critical when I'm teaching entrepreneurship because I've made that mistake of developing the product thinking that there's a market for it because I'm really solving a problem and finding out people don't want to pay for that.
Yeah, so first of all, most startups, 97% of the startups, they fail in the first 5 years. You always remember, hear about unicorns, the 1%, and you maybe 2-3% that they actually are profitable, but most startups, they fail one way or another.
Yep.
But most of them, they fail in the marketing stage because they have money for the research and for the R&D, and then they start developing the product. They didn't ask clients what do they want. They didn't check the market, or maybe they check the market and then it takes them years to develop, and then the market is changing and they don't know it. They didn't hire marketing and salespersons. They just hire engineers, and then the engineers develop the product. And when they go out to the world, they ran out of money because it took them more time than they thought, and they paid salaries. And so they ran out of money, so they don't have money for marketing and campaigns. They ran out. They don't have marketing and salespersons because they just hire engineers. This is the part that if they don't raise more money, they are getting closed. And sometimes the product is great. So what I say is you need to focus on 2 parallel routes. You need to develop the product and to do R&D and development, and you need to develop your sales and marketing. And sometimes even you go to sales before the production or during the production. For example, in crowdfunding, what is crowdfunding actually? I wrote books, okay? So my field, I wrote 11 books. So I think book number 7, I did a crowdfunding. So before crowdfunding, you first wrote the book, right? You wrote the book, you invested hours, months of your life, maybe years of your life to write a book, and then you write a book, and then you go to a publishing house, and then the publishing house or you together, we invest in the book, you make the book, and then you print, for example, 2,000 copies, 3,000 copies, you put it in bookstores, and only then if people would like to buy it. Now, it sounds amazing in 2025. What is crowdfunding? It's the opposite. It's marketing before production. It's you ask people, hi, I would like to write a book. This is my first chapter, or this is what it's going to look like. Those are the values the book represents. Would you like to buy the book? And you can, I offer several gifts. You can buy the book, you can buy an ebook, an audiobook, you can buy an hour consulting from me or something like that. I approach my community, and then people are going to buy the book. Now, there is no book. There is just the beginning of the book, or just I'm going to write my book through the process of crowdfunding. And then I know if people would like the book. If the campaign fails, then I know I don't need to invest thousands or dozens of thousands of dollars in a product in the book, because no one is going to buy it when it's released, right? But if the campaign is successful, then great. I know that first of all, I know that the book is good, that it has a crowd, and also I have the money to make the book before I finish the book. So the same principle applies in startup companies and high-tech companies. You need to either sell and market before the production or do it in parallel, but do the production and think that you know what the clients would like to buy without asking them. It's a bad idea for business.
In commandment number 7, you discuss oppositional marketing using the example of Messi versus Ronaldo, the great soccer players. Could you provide another example of oppositional marketing that might be more applicable to smaller businesses with limited marketing budgets?
Yeah, I think about marketing, and I don't see competitors, I see colleagues, okay? I think about not in a competitive way, but let's say I always try to do cooperations, okay? So for example, if I do a conference, I have a competitor, again, it's my colleague, it's not my competitor, and we do a conference together, and we market the conference to both of our clients or our communities, then we can 1 + 1 = 11. Not, in synergy, we say 1 + 1 not equals 2, it equals 3. I say 1 + 1 can equals 11. So I can share information with my colleagues, and then I can do a mutual conference, okay? I can tell you that I participate in many international book fairs in London, in Beijing, in Frankfurt each year, and I can see that there are sections where the biggest publishing houses, for example, let's say Penguin and Simon Schuster and HarperCollins, they are located in the same corner, one next to the other. And then now they are the most competitive publishing houses. But in this section, you have the most crowd in this book fair, because people will go to see the biggest publishing houses. They will check one and then they go check the other. And some people will start with the other and then will check the first one. So if you cooperate, then you can have a synergy and you can multiply your income or your results in a great way. So I say to you, don't think about your competitors as competitors, but as let's say as your colleagues, and try to cooperate and think creatively, not in a competitive way.
You mentioned the longer sales calls decrease the chances of a sale. Yet building relationships is also crucial. How can a salesperson strike the right balance between efficient communication and fostering genuine connections with potential clients during the initial interaction?
It's a great question. So first of all, you need to have a balance. But when you market and sell, you would like to be a friend of the client. But the problem is that I won't pay money to friends. If I'm stuck with my car in the middle of the night and you are my best friend, I call you and say, come and rescue me. I don't expect to pay you, and you're not expected to be paid, right? But if I call a mechanic to come to rescue me, then obviously I'm going to pay him even before he came. And I will pay him, a fee, a bigger fee, because it's the middle of the night. So I would like to make the client feel a king, to feel comfortable with me, to love me, but I don't want him to feel as my friend, because if he feels as my friend, then we don't pay to friends. So there is a balance, and we need to keep this balance. One of the things I mentioned is that if the marketing call, the sales call, becomes let's say a therapy call, a consulting call, a health call that I already share the knowledge for free, then it's bad. Then it's bad because, again, sales call should be a sales call. It should be short, it should be quick, and move you to the next stage. But if you turn this call to professional call, and I already give you the solution, like a friend will do, right? The friend will, you ask him for a tip, you will immediately would tell you the tip. He won't charge you for money. Then I become a friend, and then it's bad for my business. So you need to find this balance. You need to remember that sales conversation are not a professional conversation. You don't need to provide the tips. And again, basically it depends on your market. But I would say you can share information, but you can leave taste for more. So people will buy from you. And you can make people love you, but they don't feel that they can call you in the middle of the night or the weekend, or to come to your house or something like that. You can have this small borderline.
Regarding commandment number 7, put people through an entire persuasion process with marketing writing. You emphasize the importance of writing like you talk. However, some individuals may have speech patterns that are unclear or unprofessional. How can someone refine their natural voice in writing to both authentic and persuasive without inadvertently carrying over negative speaking habits?
So first of all, authenticity is very important. Authenticity is very important for you, because I always tell to my clients, you need to be Batman and not Superman in front of your clients. What is the difference? Batman and Superman, they are both superheroes, and they are both look like human beings, but Superman is not actually a human being. Superman he came from another planet. So if Superman will provide me a workshop how to fly, and I will sit in the first row, and I buy the ticket for the first row, and they explain everything to me. So he will say, go to the highest building, go to the roof, check the wind, check your first step, and I will do whatever he says. I'm still going to fall, because he can fly, I can fly actually. But if Batman will deliver a workshop how to fly, and it will say, okay, I started Yaniv like you. I'm also human, but actually I had a worse life, because the Joker killed my parents, and I fell into a cave, and I was afraid of bats and afraid of darkness. And then I developed a system how to fly, and I taught myself how to fly. Let me teach you. Then I can relate to them. So authenticity is very important. So you can still, continue with the same language, a unique perspective, and the way you talk, and the speed you talk, and everything. Now, if you write something, or you go to other countries or other audiences, you need to adapt yourself. Then you can use AI, for example, ChatGPT. You can use editors. If I write a book, I told you I publish my book in many languages, in 12 languages so far. So each publishing house, they take my book that I wrote and they do a little editing, and they adapt the messages to the relevant target audience. So you can use ChatGPT, you can use editors, you can use other people to show you around. Each time I come to other countries, I have partners in each country, whether it's in my case book agents or speaking bureaus or other people that know the or publishing houses or production companies that know the audience, so they do with me a little preparation. You need to adjust yourself, but again, you need to be authentic. You need to maintain your messages and your way of speaking, and this way people will love you and enjoy you, and they actually invite you because they know what they're going to get.
I have one last question, and we're almost out of time. But my last question is this: how are you using AI to create sales? Like, where does AI fit into um, obtaining more sales?
Yeah, great question. First of all, AI was just in the beginning of this area of AI, and you can use AI just to help you. AI won't replace you. You need to use it as a tool, because if we talked about experts. So AI will let's say replace the mediocre ones. If you talk about lawyers, for example. So if I'm a mediocre lawyer and I just take legal documents from the internet, you will say, I would like you to write me a confidentiality agreement. I will just take one from the internet. AI can replace me. But if I am an expert in law and I have a secret ingredient of creative thinking, and I know the judges and I know what to say and what to write, AI won't replace me. AI can help me, improve my legal documents. So whatever you do, you can use AI, but not let AI replace you. And I strongly recommend to invest in yourselves, to read books, to hear podcasts, to go to conferences, to get to know people, because AI can't replace human feelings, and human connections. Not yet, at least. And you can invest in yourself, because if you invest in yourself, then you probably get the best results. And you can use AI just to help you, but not to replace you. And this way, also, you won't be replaced by AI in your client's eyes.
And the time went way too fast. I so enjoyed listening to you and reading your book. And I hope that when you write another book, we'll have you back again to talk about that book as well. So I
Okay.
appreciate everybody coming on and listening to you as well. And I hope that we'll be staying in contact.
Thank you, Mark. First of all, it was a pleasure for me. And if you'd like to ask me any question, you can write to me by email, yaniv@yanivzaid.com, or check my website, drpersuasion.com, and also check my book, The 21st Century Sales Bible, on Amazon and bookstores in North America and worldwide. Thank you very much, Mark, for the opportunity.
My pleasure.